Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. We're diving into an XRP video here. We're still looking at the price chart. Things are still looking good, and I'm kind of looking at the reaction of the broader media because these are the people that really sort of do damage control. I think damage control is such a good term to use as to what mass media do and people who want to prevent things from moving forward. This is always going to be the case with crypto. The more they can slow it down, the more chances they've got of taxing it heavier, bringing in different regulations and sneaking in different regulations. All these different things are going to start to become more apparent as they move forward as a crypto community into the FTX situation with SBF going into the trial and everything like that. That's really going to be a bit of a head turner as to punishments in crypto because there's been so many that have gone unpunished. But of course, like always with these kind of mass medias, it's hit and miss as to what you see. Some are saying there's a potential rally could be concluding and there could be consolidation. And it's clear there's 100% consolidation going on. But if I was a big player in the game and ultimately if I was to erase emotion, you would think that these big players likely actually pay off news places to put out articles because there's so much money involved with gains. You know, gains on a micro scale are insane. A lot of people look at gains as, oh, my £100 gone up by 100%. You know, it's worth X amount, and it doesn't actually always work like that with micro scales. And it gets very interesting, especially with coins like SHIB, Lunar Classic, stuff that works on micro scales. But XRP itself, it's moving so well at the moment because that momentum takes time to build, and I think what these mass media people prey on is the average human. We're so rushed, we want it and we want it now, right? And they prey on us not being patient and sort of saying, you know, well, it's consolidating, people aren't buying in as much, maybe it wasn't what you thought it was. And it's just like there's always someone underneath you ready to buy your position for a cheaper, and it's just like, when I get involved in something, I'm thinking for the long run, and I sort of wave a bye to that investment and stick by my guns because ultimately no one likes to be wrong. And when I start to look into something and I believe in the system, you know, XRP's got such huge potential, but what I'm seeing at the moment is simply damage control to try and prevent any forward movement for now, as to which, like I keep saying, smart money is going to continue to think how they can best utilize this and pick up bags for cheap, right? If we look at these big time companies and how sort of what used to happen previously here in the United Kingdom is building companies abroad would buy land for quite cheap during bad times during the market, and they would stack that land up for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden go through and wait for there to be a housing boom and flood the market with land to buy or to build houses, so to speak. Now what happens is if you don't build on those plots of land within a certain amount of time, you have to forfeit them and you don't get as much of your money that you put in back, and it sort of all goes to the national. It's very interesting to see how those situations play out and then look at how situations like that could affect crypto and sort of like using that template, transferring it over, taking a step back and going, well, yes, this is pretty clear that big money just wants to get aligned, wants to get involved. We know that companies like BlackRock, it's a very peculiar world, the financial sector, and stocks and shares and stuff like that, they are so ancient as a form of like trading, and it's just like everything could be done so much more efficiently, and we're going to get to a point where crypto's going to take over, and it's one of those situations where XRP is one of those sort of like strangely guaranteed coins if it seems everything that it's supposed to be and it replacing the Swift system. Then you're looking at something rather potentially huge here, something that in the future you'll be sat laughing about how many XRP coins you bought for absolute peanuts, and it's looking good. Over 2 million XRP traded every minute, path to second place after Bitcoin. So, you know, you're going to have good players, you're going to have bad players and people holding long positions, short positions. There's so much money involved in crypto. I think people underestimate one human's ability to have an effect on the market. Some people beg to differ, but I really don't, because we've witnessed stuff in Lunar Classic that you just do not witness on other chains. You're talking a one-man army shutting down developers and getting them to leave the space. That is what an average human who is motivated heavily can do. And when you become motivated, it's absolutely insane. But whew, this is like Silicon Valley, the dot-com era, all interweaved into one with the internet boom. And it's like we're coming out of the stage where the dot-com era sort of started to boom. And then it was like lots of these different kind of small companies shut down and only the bigger ones survived. And then there was the huge boom, right? People like Google were the main ones that realistically pulled through and survived. Even companies like Bebo, for example, were huge. BlackBerry were huge at one point, and it's just like all of these companies have become completely like removed mostly from the sectors. The mobile phone sector is absolutely dominated by Apple and Samsung. You've got Huawei people absolutely frothing at the mouths right now. The computer sector, if you're building computers, you're simply going with Nvidia or you're going with AMD parts. There's not, everything stems from one place. If you buy a boat engine, that boat engine is normally made by one place. Normally they're Tohatsu. So if you buy Mercury, it's just a Tohatsu engine with a different label on it. And it's interesting to start correlating all of these things. I really enjoy taking deeper dives into this because Gary Gensler, I feel like this is going to be what he will forever be known for, is the guy who prevented forward growth of an honest system and more or less just broke so many people. I know people that were like so happy that they had made these huge gains in XRP. They seriously believed in it and they held and they held and they're still holding now. And it's just like communities like this, they're great. They're so strong and we can learn a lot from them. The price charting's looking good, right? We've had this huge area of consolidation, a real clear channel. We've had the ascension, pole, flag printing, and now printing this weird sort of cup and handle. If you Google cup and handles, they can play out over a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, even a year sometimes. But ultimately they do play out and they go either one way or the other. What I'm really hoping for is to see this thing do another ascension identical to what it's just done and then go for another consolidation, because realistically the only thing preventing this thing from moving right now is just, this sort of like negative push towards the system itself, saying, oh, well, maybe it's not everything you thought it was going to be. But simply the answer to everything right now is found on Twitter, and it's just XRP is not a security whatsoever. This is great. Really excited. I'm possibly going to be doing a podcast with someone who's quite big in the Ripple community. I have reached out to them and I said, I'd really like to have a conversation with someone who's real deep into the community. It's been there from the beginning, and they actually know about me. They know what I've done. They know that I've been in LUNC from the beginning. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be really interesting. I think we can learn a lot from the pros in that sector, so we can possibly move forward. And being able to utilize any other blockchain in correlation with any other blockchain that we are currently utilizing is huge, because it moves liquidity, and that is exactly what the Alliance module over at Luna was built for. And it's like anybody can adapt a module like that. It's not something new. It's just someone's taken an idea, refined it, and sort of made it a little bit different. The delivery system, I guess, is different, I guess you would say. Folks, stay safe. Have a really nice day. I hope you got some good advice in this video. None of it's financial advice. It's all for educational purposes only. Beware of scammers. Beware of doppelgangers. Beware of anybody pretending to be me. I'll catch you in the next one.